Now that we know how to do the calculations with the different formulas, now we'll transfer those formulas to our table to be used with our calculator. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're not going to change it, but let's have our CC built into our calculator. So I'll copy the equation we did for CC, which was B8, which was modulus elasticity, and B9, which was your FY, minimum yield point. So copy, go over here, I'm going to paste that in. Oops, what's going on here? Paste that in. So that was our modulus elasticity, E, which I have already labeled, and then divided by Fy, which I also already have added in there. So that's good. Now, let's go over to our table and start filling this in. So this little r, that is the minimum of our radius of gyration, which on our current tables are labeled as kxx and kyy. So to get the minimum of the two, we'll use the minimum function. So min, parenthesis, click on our beams. So here's kxx and kyy. I'll click on kxx, comma, click on kyy, in parenthesis, and press enter. That auto-populates our table with the kxx and the kyys from our standard beams W. Next one is the k times L divided by R. So we'll press equals. I've already k is on our calculator and I already labeled it as k, so k times length, which is a little l, or I guess big L, so we actually don't confuse it with an I. That times 12 to convert it to, oops, I got an 8 in there. That 2 inches divided by R, which is right here. And press enter. Okay, that's good. So we've already done the equation for factor of safety. Let's copy that and modify it to what we need. So our B10 was CC and D3 was our KLR. So we'll copy that, come back to our table, press, well actually don't need press equal, I'll just paste that in. So D3 was KLR, B10 was CC, KLR, CC. Press enter. Alright, that's good. So when KLR is less than CC, we'll use that formula equation we did in the example. When KLR is greater than CC, we'll use the formula 2 from the text. I'll fill that out once we get this one complete. So I'll go back to examples, click on FA there, copy, come back here. So these two columns, this is our FA for that particular situation, FA for that particular situation. When we finish this, we're going to write an if statement here for FA. Sounds maybe scary, it's not. It's real easy. I'll walk it through it very slowly. I'm going to press, don't need the equals. I'm going to paste that there. D3 was KLR, B10 was CC, which we type that one in, and B9 was KY. Nope, oops, where did that go? Not KY, FY. And D2 was our factor of safety, which is right there. And then all that divided by 1,000 to convert it to KSI. Press enter, and you'll get depending on what you have in your calculator, these might be negatives, which that's fine. So then our next one is KLR greater than CC. which is going to be equals to 12 times pi, which is just pi and open and close parentheses, squared times our modulus of elasticity, which is just E. That divided by parenthesis, so it's making sure that what this bottom half of the calculation is calculated first before dividing. 23 times KLR squared, close parenthesis. And I believe we got it in there, so press enter. Oh, missed one thing. And then I'll, just like we did over here, divide all that by 1,000. Okay. So this is going to be our if statement. And it's pretty easy to do. So we're just going to press equals if parenthesis. Now as you can see, this pops up. We got our logical test, so our logical statement. What we're going to say, what is true. So our first one is just going to be, and the one we're going to use is that if KLR is less than CC, then the first value here is going to be this column. When it's false, on the next bit, after the comma, it's going to be this value. So let's type that out. So we're going to say if KLR is less than, not sure why that's showing up so weird, but that is KLR right there, less than CC, comma, click on this cell, comma, now if it's ever false, it's going to be this cell, parenthesis. So when this is true, it's this column. When this is false, when KLR is not less than CC, it's going to be this column. Press enter. And there it is. So I've already added some conditional formatting to this table, and as you can see, anything in blue matches what's in the blue column. Anything in green matches what's in the green column. So that's how we're going to do that one. And then the last equation we did from an example for the max load was D4 times B3, which was FA times area. So we'll come back over here. We're going to click equals, click on this cell, times, and then go to our standard beams and find area. Click and press enter. So there's all those. So now our last step is going to be to do conditional formatting to highlight any of these in red that are less than what we put for a load in our calculator. So let's go back to our allowable. How did I phrase that? Allowable unit stresses for columns is what the AUS stands for. Okay. So I'm going to right click, select table column data, come up to conditional formatting, I need to do highlight cells less than, and I'm going to put big W divide, or I'm going to put equals first, because if it was just a number we could just type it there, but since we're using a named cell, we'll do equals W divided by 1,000, and divided by 1,000 because in our calculator it's set to pounds. On our table we want it to read as kips. And then we could leave it as that, but I'm gonna go in and make it a little fancier. Click on red and color for text white. You can do whatever you want, that's just how I want it to look. And say okay. And that's the only one that was less, because we only had 10,000 10,000 pounds on here. If I move that up to, say, 250,000 pounds, that should highlight more stuff in red. Yep. See? Now it's really easy to find beams that will work for what our settings are in our calculator. Another thing you can do is apply that same logic or conditional formatting to this column to make it even easier to read. So to do that, we're going to do a select table column data, conditional formatting, new rule. Can't use this because that's text. New rule, use formula. So equals $H, the header of this column, 2 is less than W divided by 1,000 to convert that to kips. Go to format, pick how you want it to look, press OK and OK, and that did seem to work, but something's slightly off. Let's double check. Something got screwed up on. Yeah, why did that happen? Weird. Just switch that over to 2. Okay. It does seem to be applying to the right stuff. Okay, there we go. That's weird. I'm not sure why that happened. If that happens to you, just double check the rule you wrote and see that didn't happen. Yep, see, they all match up. So let's see here. If we go back to the example and put this in our calculator, this should work out. So we have a height of 14, and they don't give us the weight. So if I put this in 14, this should be able to find the allowable weight quickly. So we'll ignore that, and we'll say 14, enter. I think everything else is in there right. Go over here, scroll down, and oh, it was a W1049. Shoot. Okay, here we go. W1049, which that was the answer we got. 242.28. 242.28. It's currently red because the weight I have on there is 250. So if I turn that over to just 200,000, it should be in white. Yep. So when we do, there's a couple of the problems that actually give you the weight it's looking for. So that should help you find that quicker, because anything in red is not going to be. So you'll give you the weight, and then you have to find the beam. So if we had known that the weight was 242, then we could have quickly found our 1049. So that should be it. If you need help, let me know.